What's the joke that you're so can't stand, but you say anyways? One time we were both a little scratched up from working on the yard, me on my knee and her on her arm. I went and got some Neosporin to put on my cuts and she asked me to hand it to her so she can use it. I said this is Neosporin, you need Armasporin. And ever since then I've referred to Neosporin as the body part Osporin that it's needed for and it drives her nuts. Every time I go out to get the mail I say I'm gonna go get the mail, you want anything? It's not even funny but it makes her groan so I love it. Her. Where are we going? Me. To hell, if we don't change our ways. Never gets old, to me, that is. When driving by the cemetery. Me. Do you know how many people are dead in that cemetery? Her. I've heard this 100 times. Me. All of them. More of a running gag than a joke, but my girlfriend is a wonderful and talented woman but my lord she cannot draw or paint. For one of our dates last winter, we did one of those paint and sip things. She was certainly more adept at the sipping part than the painting. The picture was just this simple thing of a deer and a bunch of spruce tree branches. I'm no Picasso myself but hers was one of those things that it was so bad we both thought it was hilarious and you wouldn't have been proud of a preschooler who brought it home. So, as a joke, I hung it up on the wall in our entertainment room and would always be sure to show our guests and tell them how legitimately proud of it she was and that she wanted to put it in art shows and make them awkwardly think we were serious. Eventually she was like okay we can't have this abomination in our house anymore. Key phrase was our house didn't say anything about anywhere else. I ended up getting like 15 copies of it framed and I had a handful made on this big-ass 24 by 30 canvas print. Randomly, I'll give them out to our mutual friends. To put in their house when she visits, her friends at work, to put on their desks, in the office and a few other places for her to randomly see them. Best one so far is I got the manager of a brunch place her and her friends often go to on Sundays to hang up one of the canvases on the wall since there's a lot of artwork and quirky things in there so it kinda blends in until you look at it ands it's been up for months now rolling on the floor laughing edit. I'm also working on phase 2 wherein trying to Photoshop the picture into the background some of our actual framed pictures together and see how long it takes for her to notice. Rolling on the floor laughing edit too. Since y'all wanna see it here ya go. For reference I put a copy of mine where I literally just tried to trace it and I guess she just wanted to go freehand. The eyes, ears, and the scribbled extra coat of oil paint on top of the regular paint because the colors were all wrong are what get me the most. The brakes really started to fall off a bit at the end and I think that Cabernet started hitting pretty hard. She's gonna kill me. Rolling on the floor laughing edit 3. Jesus Christ I didn't expect this comment to blow up like this but I'm glad so many of y'all have the same sense of humor as us. Rolling on the floor laughing my next endeavor I'm currently working on is that I will be entering it into the big county fair in our area as part of an art contest without her knowing. It's mainly for elementary kids, but I happen to know one of the school administrators in that county who is going to slip it in but not as an actual contestant. So, when we go, she will see it up there with her name listed as a 3rd grader. Rolling on the floor laughing lastly. I showed her this post last night. Minus phase 2. And her response to her one-eyed deer fox's newfound fame was oh no. People are only going to know me as the deer painting girl someday but she thinks it's hilarious. Her. You know what? Me. Nope, never met him. Always gets a groan. I was born 6 weeks premature. Anytime I am ever presented with the opportunity, i.e. my wife asks if I am ready to go, I will say I was born ready. Actually, I was born premature. Every single time. It drives her nuts, and over the years she has gotten very good at not giving me the opportunity, but every once in a while, my time to shine comes. Wife is black. I am white. When people ask how we met, I always say blackpeoplemeet.com and she hates it. Sometimes I'll follow up with my username, whitechocolate69. She matched me first. Anytime she says, it's driving me nuts, I respond with, ARRRR. Referring to her favorite, not, joke a pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel in his pants, and when the bartender points it out, the pirate says, ARRR, I know and it's driving me nuts. My wife does not find the line, put a quarter in your ass cuz you played yourself, amusing. She has had many opportunities to change her mind in this. I do this thing where I pretend to be a disgusting, drunk, lecherous medieval lord. I tell her that her father traded her to me for a bushel of wheat and then try to kiss her, saying things like "Come come now my dear, don't be frightened, 'tis only I," as she struggles to get away. She loves it, hates it. Every time I pull money out of the ATM, if my wife is with me, the moment money pops out I'll yell, "I won. I won." Just watch her walk away embarrassed. How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? 10. 10 tickles. Tentacles gets her every time. But an octopus only has 8 tentacles. Yay, I know. The first 2 were test tickles. Do you want some coffee with your sugar? Twice a day for the rest of our lives. I tell mixed company that my wife hits me when she drinks. She never drinks. Every time our baby starts chewing on a book of any kind, I yell for her attention to tell her he's devouring knowledge. We'll see how long before she ends me. I often eat the Quaker raisin, date, and walnut-flavored oatmeal. Every time I do, I read the package and act disgusted and say, "You know, back in my day, raisins dated raisins and walnuts dates walnuts." Her. I'm gonna go jump in the shower, run to the store. Me. Probably safer to just step in, quicker if you drove. I like to introduce her to new people as my first wife. My buddies and I would use the term raw dog as a euphemism for going into something unprepared. The first time my wife was absolutely repulsed, so naturally I kept saying it, and her face cracks me up every single time. Every time we get Chinese food, I open my fortune cookie and announce it says, "Help, I'm trapped in a fortune cookie factory." When my wife asks me to get a vasectomy, I always say, "But what if my second wife wants kids?" I find it hilarious. She doesn't agree. We've been married almost 18 years with a 14-year-old kid and couldn't be happier, so that's why I think it's funny. Whenever my wife says anything about the weather being hot, I always respond with, "Yeah, you are." She could utter, "I'm hot," or, "It's hot," or even, "It's burning up in here," and I'll still respond with, "Yeah, you are," which enrages her, but I do it every time. I always tell people that my wife won state championship for basketball team. She hates that I bring that up. She's 31 years old, so it was a while ago. Every time my wife says Iraq, I respond as though she said Iraq. That's hard as a rock, that's pretty hard. US just bounced out, it was so hard, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Afghanistan? I have a rock stuck in my shoe, you should let them out. That's pretty offensive in their culture. Adding, "Am I right?" after making shallow, fairly obvious observations. Them. Drinks a cup of water. You. Water, am I right? That we should date. She pretends she doesn't like me and threatened to call the cops if I ask one more time. She's funny. She hates it when I pronounce penne rigate as peen rigate while cooking. I always enjoy that one.